signal flow, how everything works together. So during rehearsal Sunday morning, if something's not connecting, you kind of have some sort of idea of where to start to try and troubleshoot what's going on, right? So obviously front of house console, signals coming out of the back of this into this rack right here. So in this rack is a switch, or I apologize, it's going to be the rack down there, it's tempted to this one. Down there is a switch, and that network switch is VLAN'd out. Specific ports are on the lighting network, specific ports are for audio, graphics, so on and so forth. All the switches connect together, so that's why we're coming into this, and it'll connect to that rack. The other device at front of house is this guy right here. This is what's called a Q server touchscreen. So very, very confusing. We have Q server and Q sys. It never messes anybody up, I promise. So think of Q server as a secondary backup console to the MA. QSys is just a software that controls other softwares. So nothing is actually really baked in, programmed into QSys. It's just pointing to other softwares and saying, do this, do that, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Another thing, just pause. I'm going to ask if it makes sense a lot. It's not because I think y'all are dumb. It's because I might be doing a terrible job explaining. So if something doesn't make sense, just stop me. Cool. Let's go. For now, that's it at front of house. Let's go into the rack room, just so I can show you all those devices, what they do. Remember how I said all the switches connect to each other. So this is the lighting switch right here. So that signal from the console's hitting that switch via a VLAN. It's coming into here. All of these are VLAN'd out for the lighting network, these ports here. There'll be labels on all this stuff once we get a little closer, but all of these will just go directly into the back of, currently are going into the back of all these lighting devices. So just starting from the top down, behind this pathway DIN mounted system, or DIN rail assembly, is two devices back there, both exactly the same. It's called a Q station hub. That's basically just the power for the button stations throughout the room. So
like the wall panel buttons?
Correct. Okay. Yeah, so those are just house light control, like the one as soon as you walk in on the doorway. So if you come in one day and they're just black, they're not on at all, there's a chance that maybe one of these, power got pulled out of it, or maybe the network got pulled out. And you can see on the back side of here, those glowing. Mm-hmm. So that'd be a good place to start for that. Directly below that is this device here. It's called the Q server. So this is connected to that touchscreen in front of house. This is that secondary console. It's just a rack-mounted lighting console. Okay. So again, if some of the buttons stop working, if the touchscreen stops working, you're like, man, we just need to get house lights on. Like nothing's connected for some reason. We just need to get house lights on. All of these buttons are programmed with house light control as well. So it's kind of like that final step. Like there's nothing else beyond this. This is where the information's programmed in. I know that there's no labels on here. I'm glad y'all asked. There is a button in here. So if you tap let me go back. If you tap the touch screen, under buttons, all this is labeled. Okay. So house light levels.
The corresponding 8.
Correct. Okay. So it's 1 through 4, 5 through 8.
Got it.
Another thing in here is macros. So the wall stations, when the front of house console is online, those wall stations are going to turn red and they're going to lock. So the kid can't come up in the middle of service and poke around and
so console takes precedence.
Correct. Okay. It's always going to be at a higher priority than the button stations throughout the room. Let's say, and when the console turns,
when you say activates that,
as soon as the console turns on, it automatically activates it. But let's say when you turn the console off, everything will unlock. Let's say that doesn't happen for whatever reason. There's an overriding here, so you'll see wall station lock and wall station unlock. You can always come in here and manually lock and unlock it if you need to. There's also these buttons on the touchscreen at front of house. I'll show you that as well. That's about it on here. It'll automatically go back to this little home screen. Again, all this stuff is going to have labels on it. This patch bay right here is all of the lighting network lines throughout the room. Mm-hmm. So on every
coming from the stage boxes.
Yep, every SSRC panel on every pipe, the stage boxes, you're going to have two under lighting. You're going to have 2 ports. One is going to be a D number and one's going to be an LN number. So like D01 and LN01. This is your LN. This is your D. So lighting network. Let's say you put, I don't know, let's say you added a bunch more stuff for a Christmas service or Easter service. You've had another node or something like that at front or on stage. You can patch it into the switch this way and get to any port on stage. So it's just extra Ethernet ports. It's never being used. It's all just extra infrastructure.
So these are direct connection to the port on stage.
That's exactly right. Yep. And then DMX, it works the exact same way. I know it looks like an Ethernet RJ45, but it is DMX running down these. So this is ports D1 through D18 throughout the room. All of these you can see are patched. All this will be cleaned up later. All these are patched into these guys here, which these are our pathway gateways. So out of the front of house console, we're outputting streaming ACN. We're broadcasting streaming ACN.
And that's the wireless or
It's the
DMX over
it's the
Ethernet,
protocol.
essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All this is doing is it's looking at the network and going, where's the streaming ACN data coming from? And so it's looking at this, and it's looking at the console at front of house as it's streaming ACN data. And then this is saying, okay, the front of house console has 100% priority, and this is priority just below it. So we're always going to listen to both, but only front of house has control unless it doesn't exist, and then this gets control. So they both run all the time. So in the middle of a service, let's say, I don't know, console blows up and starts smoking, and you just need to get lights back on, this is automatically going to take right back over.
Okay.
So the room's not going to go into 100% black or anything like that. Each one of these ports is already assigned with the DMX number and universe. So if I scroll through,
So are there multiple universes?
yep, we have licensed up to 8.
But I mean, we have lights we're going to distribute lights among different universes?
Right now we're using 1 through, I believe 1 through 4 or 1 through
Okay.
5. So there's extra room in the universes. So if you use this wheel and scroll over, yeah, you're
See a
good.
little better. Okay.
So on port H,
Yep.
let's say on this port here, you wanted to assign a universe to that. You just select the port, press in on the wheel, scroll down to patch, and then select whatever universe. If you want it to be, let's say universe 6, select that, go back, and you can now see that it's on universe 6.
And then from there, if I needed to get it on a specific DMX channel within that universe, is that just going to be the light address?
Yep, that's
Okay.
exactly right.
So
And then
this is
that will
just setting
just,
the universe.
that's
essentially.
exactly right. This
So
is just saying.
finish the wiring, then we could plug that package into a stage pocket, figure out where that stage pocket comes out here, and then run this to the.
You could, yeah. So like I said, this is just for lighting network. So you can utilize these as DMX ports just the same, but every DMX port throughout the room is currently patched to a port. So let's say on the floor, for example, I think it's DMX ports 16, 17, and 18. Let's just assume that it is. I can scroll through on here and go, okay, D17, like I'll find the port, whatever one I want to plug into, select that, and then you can address them. So you don't have to plug anything in. If it's a DMX port in the
It's an
room,
existing port.
you don't have to plug anything
Okay.
in. All you have to do is assign the universe. So we're not
Is the reason
using
for multiple? Are we running out of address space, or is there another
Yeah.
logic that you're using to divide?
yeah,
up
it's just
universes?
too many addresses are being used up
Okay.
to
So
all.
there's no other rationale for what's on what universe.
There is to some degree. So like if it's on the same pipe, we put it on the same universe just so that we can daisy chain them together. Unless it doesn't fit, then we'll split it up. But if it's on the same pipe, we'll put it on the same universe. House lights are on the same universe. So there is some logic. We can give you the patch sheet if you want it, just so you can
That'd be
see
great
all the
to
logic
have.
behind it. Yeah, for sure. Next time I come, I'll put together like a little packet to give you guys the IP addresses, the whole nine. But yeah, that's the reasoning behind it. But if you want to add something in, for an Easter service or whatever, as long as it's not something isn't patched on that universe and address in the console, you can patch it
As
wherever
long
you
as
want
it's
to.
available, any universe is fine.
Yep, absolutely.
There's no.
Yeah, 1 through 8, but
Yeah.
yeah, just because the console's only licensed for up to 8 universes.
Got it. Okay.
So, okay, is that making sense? Sweet. That's it in here.
Okay.
We can go back to front of house. Stage edge, and then the rest are all up on pipes. So you can see on here, like lighting, there's D17 and LN17. So they're right next to each other on the same port. You can use this as a DMX signal. You just need a converter to go to 5-pin. But yeah, every panel, if it has the DMX number, is also going to have an LN on it, and it's going to match.
Okay.
So there's probably nothing going to be plugged into here. because the only thing on the floor is the hazer, which is going over here.
Yeah, I think some of these were just kind of extra ports. If
Yeah.
if we added a floor light or
Yep.
something like that.
It's the same thing up here. Like all these are daisy chained. So starting on this electric here, these battens, these long skinny ones, this is a curtain sight. So we're gonna have a curtain along this back wall. That's just to light up the drape line. We also have, if you see, there's 2 on this side and 2 on this side. There's gonna be just a shorter curtain there. Those are to just sight those as well. On this electric here with the moving lights on it, all the way on the very, very ends are 2 pars. Those are going to be backstage lights. So we won't have control over those on the console. It's only going to be on the touchscreen. So if somebody forgets to program them in, you know, backstage is in black, because we can't see backstage in front of house, but your band sure will be able to see the light. So this is like a safety thing. It's only on the touchscreen. Can't control them on the console. Moving in, there's 2 lights. The 2 lights are identical to each other. Those are called pale pars. Those are just a side light for band, worship leaders, so on and so forth. Moving down are what's called a 6 plus par L or something like that. It's the bigger backlight. We have 5 on this pipe, 4 on the mid stage, and then 5 on that down stage. All those are backlight for the different sections of the stage. These 4 moving lights, it's just for eye candy, however you want to program them. And then all the way on the far outside pipes, you'll see 3 on each side, like little pars. That's just to light up the wall. There's going to be diffusion in them. So it's just going to basically just make the wall glow. Out on your key light pipe, there's 2 different types of fixtures. One is what's called a KL Fresnel. That's what our key light is. That's what's going to be lighting up town on stage. And then there is 6 what's called KL pars. Same ones we're using as side lights on stage. There's 6 out there. That's audience wash. And then moving out here to this side pipe, the first 2, like on stage on that side pipe, those are audience wash as well. And then the last 2 out here, both of those are key lights.
Key lights, got it. Yeah, I can see the difference in fixtures.
Yep. And then obviously we've got house lights.
And you said key lights are for illuminating the stage, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's actually the light up front light. Yeah, they're full color changing, but we'll when I come back to focus, I'll dial in color temperatures, and we'll coordinate with cameras too, so everything looks happy and
Cool, kind
your
of.
people on stage don't look orange and cameras look blue, and all this stuff is going to marry really well together.
Okay.
So,
You mentioned quote-unquote backstage lights?
yeah.
And you said it's the end light on this?
It's the one all the way on
So
the
what
end.
its purpose is to light up right here, you mean?
Yep.
And it'll be there's a curtain here, so it's going to be behind the
Yeah,
curtain,
so
so to speak?
right here, all the way until where I'm standing right here, there's
Yeah.
going to be a curtain.
Yep.
So that's going to come all the way out, and then pretty much where he's standing right there, there's going to be a curtain that goes all the way.
Oh, so the
Oh, so
curtain
it'll
will
actually
go
be
ahead and
enclosed.
closes in.
Correct.
Got
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it's not gonna close in, but the curtain is gonna.
It
be
makes
straight
an L.
across here and straight across here. So all this is gonna be open space.
So if that light is on, you will be able to see it out here, probably.
I mean,
Like
it's gonna
over
be
there.
from a far side. You will.
Okay.
Typically, it's not
Visible.
visible. I mean, we at a dark blue, which is typically what
And you
backstage
said
light
that
is.
those lights are not controllable from the board? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's programmed just to work on the touchscreen. So typically, what the reasoning for that is, we've had a lot of cases where whoever's programming at whatever church it might be with backstage lights, they forget to turn them on or program them in or override them or something like that in the middle of a service.
You want to
They
be
could
able
be
to get
on
to
it,
it quickly?
yeah,
basically,
on
is
it
what you're saying?
green or on it
Yeah.
orange or whatever, and it actually is more distracting than just having them on a touchscreen where. Because its only purpose is backstage lights.
To help
you don't
people
need
get
to
in
be
and
able
out.
to program them. It's
And you
gonna
said
be
you
the
usually
same
do
thing.
them like a dark blue.
Yeah, it'll be a dark blue. It'll make more sense.
So it's
once
not a bright
everything's
white light.
installed. No, I mean, so there's gonna be 3, which I'll show you on the touchscreen here in a minute. There's gonna be 3 presets on there: a white, a blue, and an off. White is work light, so and only back there is gonna have controls. So somebody can't come to this wall station here and turn them on, and
During
in the middle of the
service, yeah.
service. So it's only controllable back there. When the console turns on, boots up, these automatically go to blue. So if you forget to set them to blue, they're just by default. As soon as that console turns on, the system's assuming you're about to have a service, these are going to blue. You can override that and make them go to white. It won't send itself back to blue, you do have to manually go back to blue if you change it. But there's a white, which is like a work light. So if you're patching cables right here, your band's loading in or whatever, you just want to give them a little bit more light during rehearsal time, you can turn those on to 100% and it does work like a work light. Blue is that backstage setting, and then off. If, for end of day, everything in the room shuts down, the whole house goes black, those go black too.
Okay.
So, and then at the end of service, when the console shuts off, house lights automatically come up to 100%, and backstage lights automatically come up to work light. So that's for, once everybody's gone, left the room, we can change that. But the reason it's programmed that way right now is once everybody leaves, if you still have a room full of people and you're like, hey, it's time for lunch, we're all like, we can get this team out of here, you can turn it on, house lights are still going to come up, you're not going to accidentally put the whole room in dark and an old lady trips and sues the church. You know what I mean? It is like a safety thing.
Okay.
That's the reason behind it, but we can change that if we
When
need
you
to.
program that, we have them fade up, don't just go.
It's a
from that
crossfade.
setting.
Yeah, it's a 2-second crossfade from that desk to Q server, and then same back. It's going to be, when you turn this console on, it's not just going to cut to whatever the console is, it's going to be a crossfade into it.
Okay.
I was talking about a touchscreen, front of house controls the wall stations. This is that touchscreen. So a couple different zones broken out here. So there's house and stage controls, backstage, those backstage on, blue and off, and then work lights on and off. So all these are labeled exactly what they do. All these stage looks, all those are presets that we can record over. Just those 5. Backstage, again, that's the on at white, the blue and off, work light on and off. The work light are the 4 that are over top of the stage. Those, again, are only controllable on here, not the console, so that you don't accidentally push up a fader in the middle of service and now you've got work lights on at 100% and it's, it looks bad. So you can only control those on here.
But once the console's on, it overrides these panels.
Not backstage and not work light. Backstage and work light will only ever be on here, not on the console.
Where is this gonna sit?
Right next to the console.
Okay, so
It's just over here for right now because everything's temped in, but it will be over there.
So we'll still have control of it, just.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
And when this is on, it overrides the wall panels? Or no?
No, so backstage and work light are only on this, not on the wall panels. What's on the wall panels are
So what, but you said there were certain points when the wall panels would be locked out.
That's
Is that
when the-
only when the board's on?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. So in theory, if the console is off and it's just there's just a Bible study in here, or there's a funeral, and you don't want to staff a whole team just to bring up a key light fade, just simple stuff on the console. You don't even have to power the whole thing on. You can just select something here. In that case, when the console's not
And if
on,
we had some typical setups, we could program them in here?
yeah, yep. Which I'll show you how to do here in just a second. And then so the wall stations, only when the console turns on do they lock out. Only when the console turns off do they unlock. If you want to manually override that, the way you do it, just tap your logo up here. This is going to go into an admin mode, and you can manually lock and unlock wall stations there. And then there's a record, enable, and disable. When you hit record, enable, it's going to show the ones that you can, record something over them. The rest of them go to black. The way that you record over it, you just tap what you want. So if you set a scene on the console, and if you're happy with the scene and say, hey, this is exactly what I want it to look like for a funeral, and this stage 5 is our funeral look, you tap it, and it's recorded.
It captures that look.
Yep.
So it captures
Just the current setting, basically.
color, fixture,
Everything.
rotations, everything.
It's
It's
a
not
car-
like a macro that you have to program after you.
It's a
select
carbon
it.
copy.
Yeah.
It's a carbon copy of whatever you
Snapshot.
set on there. And then to get out of it, just disable record, enable, and then
And then house
You can
lights,
get out of
we're
it.
not able to.
So
those are
this,
saved,
correct.
it's
now
just
the white
stage
outline
look.
means they're programmed?
the white outline means it's on. There's nothing programmed in these right now. So like if I hit this, they're all going to turn on. Same with
yeah.
it just means there's nothing programmed into it. Sorry, ask your question one more time.
Just confirming, none of the house settings we can change. Those
Correct.
are preset recorded, but we can record stage settings.
Only these ones here. Yep.
We're not erasing house lights.
Correct.
Okay.
And the reason for that is like I said, if during the middle of a service, console shuts down for whatever reason, somebody unplugs, whatever, console shuts down. it's not like something's recorded over house lights at full where now it's black or the house is really low, you know. Same with like janitors, maintenance team, whatever. They just need to know, hey, the top button on all of these is house at 100%, you know, work light on. The bottom button has everything off. So they don't have to try and remember, oh, what was that? It's very, very simple over there.
Okay.
Like setting your seat settings in your car, very, very specific to whoever's programming it. There's no right or wrong way. It's just preference. That's all it is. So I've set this up the way that I typically set it up for churches that I commission for, where it's volunteers running it, and you know it's relatively laid out in a simple enough way to program it, right? So first things first, I'll just go through all these views. So the top view is what's called a programmer view. These are all of our fixture groups. So they're color coordinated. So like KL, Fresnel, those are our front lights, our key lights. We have KL pars. Those are those side lights, audience lights. Underneath this, you'll see like downstage side wash, upstage side wash, house wash. So it's working in columns of fixtures. So the ones on the top are grabbing all of the fixture type, and then everything below is actually what's sectioned out in the room.
So it's similar to how I set up the groups in the Onyx.
Yep. Correct.
So same thing goes for all the other 6 bars, downstage, so on and so forth.
And
Below
the color
that,
coding is just to show a group. It's not.
yeah, it's just to show fixture types. Nothing special about it. You can change it, just assign 3 times, grab it, and you can put whatever color you want in there. Below it is color presets. This is something I'll program in whenever I come back to commission, but it's just a really quick way to go, hey, we use these colors all the time. Let me grab this, let me grab that.
So essentially, you would select a group of lights and then hit the color.
Correct.
Okay.
So the reason I do this and not just rely on a color picker is some lighting fixtures, if you select, you know, this here, it's going to be different from one brand of fixture to the other. So the reason I have all of this is if I'll go through and visually match them all, even if, you know, the KL pars, if a cyan is right there, but a Fuse SFX, a cyan's actually there, I'll go in, set the whole room so
they
it looks right.
look together.
Correct. So you don't have to every single time go in and fine tune it and try and get it all to match. It's already
Got it.
programmed in here to match. The other thing you'll see in here is color temperatures. Those are just going to be, every fixture in the room will be color balanced with a meter to be that exact color temperature. So, you know, even though we're only using front light, backlight, and footlight as, you know, metered for like a sermon look or you know, worship, whatever, if you decide, hey, I actually really like this look, you know, this color temperature look, and I want to put it on the sidewalls, it's already metered, it's already balanced, it's exactly what it needs to be. You don't have to try and eyeball it. Next page is called layouts. So if you've seen like Chroma Key Vista consoles or, you know, anything, this is going to look really familiar. So over here is layout pages. So stage pipe, this is if you're looking at the stage pipe from an overhead view. So you've got the battens there, moving lights, you know, so on and so forth. And then off to the side here, you also have groups. So you can, you know, come in here and grab Fuse SFXs or whatever. You
So
can
those
actually
related
grab,
to the groups we're looking at in the previous screen.
correct. It's the same
groups.
exact group. It's just laid out on here.
Okay, you can kind of see the
So
physical
you can
position.
yep, and then they'll glow yellow. Can't see. They'll glow yellow once you select them.
Okay.
Stage floor, there's only 4 fixtures on the floor.
Those are those uplights.
Those are those footlights.
Okay.
These are all of our key lights. So this is the key light, and then this is the audience light here.
Okay.
And then house, this is every house light. This will probably look a little different next time we come, but
Right, as you
that's the
guys-
house lights.
Okay.
And can you go back?
Yeah.
So as I bring up the house lights or whatever, is it going to show the intensity here?
Yeah, so if we do this and just start rolling intensity up, you'll see those come up.
Okay.
Data pools, so these are, there's a couple on here. There's one that's called all, position, beam, shapers, focus, and gobo. So these will all have things programmed in next time you see it. All just grabs every attribute, so dimmer, position, so on and so forth.
Show me all again.
all's right here.
Got it. Top left. Okay.
Yep. And so if I grab, let's say, I'll just show you real quick, all the Fresnels, right?
Okay.
Let's say that is the metered color temperature, and I want them at 30%, and I need the, you know, sure. Let's just say that this is set perfectly for front light. It's metered, you know, looks great on camera. We want it to be like that every single time. Instead of going through and selecting position presets, so on and so forth, we just store it to an all preset. And now if we just hit that, it's gonna set those 9 front lights to every single thing that dials it into what key light should be.
Okay.
So it's not, you don't have to go around and select a bunch of things if you're like, hey, I just know that I need these lights to go back to where it is for key light. It's all just
how it is
programmed.
right now is how I want it.
Yep.
Can you show me those keystrokes again? Just
Yeah,
to
so
save it to all.
yeah, if I grabbed, I just grabbed that, selected, let's say that's the color, and I want them at 50%. I just did at 50.
Enter.
The other option is you can hit dimmer,
And-
select that, type it in there,
Okay.
or you can use this wheel, whatever.
Sure.
Data pools, store, tap whatever you want. You can override or merge it if you just want to make it.
So that all bank is really just all of those empty slots right there.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you know, for things like key light, hey, I want this to, every time I select key light, I want it to be exactly the same. That's what that's for.
Okay.
Position would be for if I grab like the Fuse SFXs, tilted them out, and I was like, that's the position that I always want. That's a position I always like. I want to store it. I don't want to have to redial it in every single time. You can come, works the same way, store it to a position, and then next time you want those lights to go there, you just grab it, hit the position,
And then
they
that's
go
only
there.
remembering position, no color.
Correct.
Okay.
That's
So
exactly
essentially,
right.
they're just presets
Yeah, that's exactly. It's just a
for
preset.
certain parameters or
Yep.
all parameters.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's data pools, effects. These are all pre-built-in effects and built-in forms. We will look at this way more in depth next time around, and how to edit this stuff. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm just going to show you this page for now because it's not going to make any sense unless you see a light actually doing it. Fixture sheet. This is just showing you every fixture in that's programmed into the console and what it's currently doing. So just as an example, I'm going to turn all these to on, and I'm going to make these that color, and these that color, and these that color. If I go back to my fixture sheet, I can now see where the pan and tilts are set at, where RGB levels are set at, where intensities are set at, so on. So this is really just like an information page. Sequence, these are just Cuelists is another console's calling that too. That's all that this is just a page full of them. Typically the way that I organize this is, again, it'll look a little different next time we come around. This whole top section is stuff that never changes. This is key light. This is levels for the hazer. This is curtain open and close. Those sort of things that like, this isn't a programming thing. This isn't, for this song we're going to change. That's not this.
artistic.
This is like baked in. This stuff really never changes. That's what I programmed this top row for. Everything else, I just go in alphabetical order. So as you're programming out songs, I don't know, name a song.
All because of Jesus.
All because of Jesus. So A. So we'll program with nothing programmed into the sequence. I'll label this to be A. And there's nothing in this. It's just an empty
just like a
sequence.
little
It's
cell.
just a label. Yep.
Okay.
And now I'll come in and program, if I set a whole thing, whole
Look for
sequence, for that song, I can then store after it and label it, all because
So
you
that's
picked
sort
a
of
long
your-
name for
I
a
know,
song.
right?
But that, it
So that's
really
sort
just,
of like your A bank.
yeah,
essentially.
exactly. And so I'll have like an A and skip down and B, C, so far. So just when you're scrolling through it, just store it in alphabetical order so you're not trying to remember, we did the song 6 months ago, it was around the time I programmed this other thing. It's a lot cleaner, a lot
And
easier to
so
keep
then a
track of.
sequence could be, obviously, or a cue list could be a single look, or it could be a bank of,
Correct.
verse, chorus, like if you wanted to build it out. But
That's
either
exactly
way, or it
right.
could just be like, I like this color for that one song, I'm just gonna store it.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
We'll come back to some of that stuff in a minute.
Okay.
Playbacks, this is just a copy of what's here, so you can see what things you have programmed to what buttons. So you can see here I have like the curtain open and closed. This is for let's say curtains are closed, you'd
You're talking about
activate.
the side curtains?
Yeah,
If we pull them on
house
the room,
curtains.
yeah.
If they're pulled just to shrink the room a little bit, I would activate this to close them off. I'm going to program the whole show with the entire room open, but for if the curtains are closed, I hit this, and all it does is take them to black. And
Anything
it's got,
outside of the curtain, right?
correct, everything outside of the curtain. So it's just set to what's called a super priority. It just means that no matter what I do in the program or live, it does not matter. I could select those fixtures out there and put them at 100%. Nothing's going to happen because this priority is set to the highest level.
So then you would
Now-
just have to deselect that to turn them back on?
Correct. So let's say in the middle of a service, hey, it's Easter, we are packed out, and we're now having to open these up because we need more chairs. You now don't have to go in and pull up other things and try and program them live. You just deactivate that, and those are going to fade on and just follow what everything else in the room
And
is
it's
doing.
deactivating, just toggling it again?
Yep, it's just a toggle.
Just on off, essentially? Okay.
It's 2-second fade on, 2-second fade off. Live, this is what I would put on that external
Secondary
screen.
monitor.
Yeah, so this is just showing a couple of things. Showing a live clock, time code. I don't know if you guys are using time code, but I just leave it up
Not
there.
at the moment, but
Okay. It's going to show you your sequence and any running effects. So if I come into the programmers, grab that, and do like effects, and say I want that dimmer, I can come down to live and see in the programmer, because nothing's stored, right?
Yeah.
In the programmer, it's showing me, hey, there is an effect running. So if you start the sermon and lights are pulsing and you're like, what in the world is happening? You can look on here and see, oh, okay, in this sequence on this cue, I can see exactly where this is at. Which is a great segue into this next thing. On these buttons here, fun macros. So there's stop dimmer through beam and then stop running effects. So again, let's say you get to sermon and you're like, why is everything spinning around? It shouldn't be doing that. This is like an emergency. You hit that, all effects are going to come to a stop. So things are pulsing, things are distracting, you hit that, everything just comes to a stop. Or if you're in the middle of programming and go, okay, I like that this color effect is going, but I have a color effect and a dimming effect going on at the same time. For the next cue, I want to stop the dimmer effect, but the color effect is okay. You can just hit stop dimmer. It's going to stop that dimmer effect, and the color effect is going to keep going. So these are to stop specific things. This is to stop everything. Okay, last thing as far as views go, it's called user. So this is really just like, it's basically what it is, just a user page. This is just going to have data that you typically don't need to get to, but it's nice to have handy. So that's these views, which are these. If you want to assign one of these to a specific button, you can do that. Executor pages. So these are executors. And so you can see like we're on this fader bank right here. We can select different ones, and you can see like this just went away, which if I come down to playbacks, you can see it's now missing. So you can go through fader banks. Let me go back up to, back here. So you can kind of bounce through. You can have like everything programmed out here for Sunday, and if students are using this room as well, you can go to students and have their whole thing programmed out, and it's not going to mess with any of your typical Sunday stuff. It's just images. So it's just an image pool. I put your logo in here, so if you hit MA Fix, it's going to block the console out. Logo pops up. So no matter what I want to do, nothing is going to matter. So let's say rehearsal's done, open doors, and you guys go into the green room to have a quick planning center meeting or whatever. Before you walk away the desk, you can lock this. So if little Timmy comes up and decides he wants to have fun with buttons, he can't do anything.
And what were the keystrokes to lock and unlock?
Hold down MA and hit Fix.
Okay. And then same thing to lock it.
Yep. Same exact thing.
MA fix.
Yep.
Okay.
Just a couple like shortcut things while I'm thinking of them. Hold down MA. Each one of these tabs are assigned to a number. You see like 1, 2, 3, 4. So a really quick way to bounce through those instead of like having to hit this, you can hold down MA and do 1 through whatever, and you can see, those will change.
Okay, so you're just toggling between those without
Yeah.
having to touch the screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If you decide, hey, I love that we have 10 views on here, but I want 12. I want to add more. You can hold down MA and then change pages, and now you have a blank page of views. So these buttons will change views just like pressing these will, but you can actually change pages by holding down MA and go to a different view button page. And,
Okay.
you know, so if you walk in and it's just a blank page, you're probably, you know, you don't need to reassign everything. You're probably just on the wrong one. Just make sure you go back to page 1.
And generally, you're recommending for that secondary screen to load your, was it the live live
so
page?
I would probably put, honestly, a carbon copy of this just on that second display, so just so that it's kind of like
Backup.
memory.
So essentially, you would have 2 touchscreens with the same bank of screens.
Correct. And they run individually. So
Yeah.
if you're on playbacks here, you can be running something else up
Right,
there.
okay.
But at least just like muscle memory, everything is, in
It's
the
gonna
same
be
place.
okay. I like that.
A couple other things, you may already know this. If you want the screen to go up and down, don't force it. Just hold down MA, and you can go up and down. The screen's motorized, so it'll move.
I took them all off. Start fresh.
If you some other thing, like there's other settings you can mess around in here, like desk lights. If you decide you want the background of these buttons to increase or decrease, you can do that. The highlight of a button, so if something is on, you can change that. Executor background, same exact thing. Desk lamp, you can change the brightness of that. 9-inch display, that's this one. 15-inch display, that's that one.
Which setting on setup? This is your setup screen
Yeah,
to
so
get
if you
here.
go setup,
Okay.
and then desk lights. Remotes, let's look at that. So to remote in, I have on the back of this console a Wi-Fi router plugged in. This is just interrupting the signal between the rack and the console. So that data cable is coming from the rack into the Wi-Fi router, and then out of that into the desk. And so all it's doing is allowing me to remote into it. So the way
So
that
this is its own Wi-Fi network, basically.
it has its own Wi-Fi
An
network.
SSID or whatever.
Yeah, this is something. This is my personal one.
We could
We
set
talked
the
about
same
adding
thing
one
up.
later. Yeah, which if you have one next to my phone,
I'll
set
bring
that
it.
for you.
I'll bring it in. Yeah.
So if that router dies, it doesn't work.
It depends on if it still passes signal. This one does. So if this powers off, it will still pass signal. Some do, some don't.
As long as it fails on.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing you can do is just we can assign another port on the network switch to be on the same VLAN. It'll work the exact same way.
If we used our other access point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Probably do that.
So we got a couple options.
Yeah. So to connect to the console, just go to settings. You select that Wi-Fi network. So mine is just called lighting, and then I have a manual like static IP address set. So the range is 172.16.30. Whatever. The console is set to be 21. So my iPad is at 98. Just it's in the range, but it's something different. And then when I go to my internet browser, I can type in the IP address of the console. Hit go. No, don't do that. Hang on.
Before we had an app, didn't we?
I feel much better about this than that app.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to pop up with a login screen. Type in the username and password. So again, if somebody gets the login information of the Wi-Fi router, they can't just hop in and start controlling the console. So log into it.
And right now it's just uppercase CATC, lowercase CATC. Then
Correct.
We can update
We can
that.
change it
Yeah.
whenever we want to. Yep. So these are pages here, just scrolling through. You can see groups. These are different preset pools. This is not going to match how we have stuff laid out on here. This is its own thing. Can't change it. Different macros, so on and so forth. You can see the Cuelists in here.
So is this just accessing a web interface from the Grand Mall?
Yeah. So the way I was describing it to Ryan, let's say one of the moving lights, the pastor's using some statue or a fish tank or whatever on stage for a sermon illustration, and you want to focus a specific light on it, but you're having a hard time seeing from back here, exactly where it needs to go, you can grab the fixture. Let's say go to my layout tool. Let's say it's that moving light right there. I can then come in here. I can these buttons all do the same thing as here, so I can turn it on. I can move it around. You can hit wheels. You have dimmer control, which you can see it turning on there. I can set pan and tilts. I can do gobos. You can kind of see the console moving along with it. I can set it on stage exactly how I want it, and then either store it on here or store it on here. Both works the exact same way. Another cool thing you can do with this is, let's say you're short-staffed one day, or maybe a volunteer's run a little bit behind, and you're mixing audio. You're like, I just need to bump through cues, but I have to stand over there and not over here. You can remote in, take the iPad over there,
And if you
control
just pull up your
everything.
cue list and walk
Yeah,
through.
exactly.
If you store it, you mentioned if you store it on the iPad interface or computer,
Yep.
it's not stored locally on the
It
board.
is.
It is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's a little easy. The interface is. I mean, the interface is 15 years old. It's a little clunky. So to me, I like having buttons. This is like the seat setting in a car thing. It's just a preference. I like setting everything on stage and coming back to the console
And storing it.
storing exactly where it is, so that I don't accidentally, get fat fingers and touch something I shouldn't. The only times I use it for live execution is we're in the middle of a rehearsal and I'm like, hey, somebody kicked over a light on stage, but I still want to run my cues. I'll walk on stage with my iPad so I can still, run cues. I'll fix whatever I need to fix. Or
Okay.
haze fluid ran out. I'll at least go up there and,
You could still kind of hit go on the next thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't run anything off of it, but it's great for programming, focusing.
You said you wouldn't run anything off of it. It's different, but we used to put an extra page of Executors on there. Is that a bad idea?
I wouldn't, only because if you're relying on those for service and it disconnects from the network, iPad dies, whatever,
Okay.
those essential things that you need to get to, you no longer have access to.
Okay.
I don't like running anything off the iPad unless I absolutely have to. This is not at all how it would look, but let's just say I'm grabbing that, putting them at full, and I want them to be orange, right? Let's say this is what I want for sermon. This looks great. You can do it a bunch of different ways. The way that I would probably do it is I would go to sequence, hit store, come up here, and now it's stored to that sequence.
Okay.
Assign twice, and you'll see it goes from assign to label. Hit assign twice, it goes to label. Tap that, and then sermon. So now that's baked into there. I can select that, I can assign that to, let's say, this fader here, and then select that, and I can see now it popped up on this sequence here, as well as my live view that popped up on this window here. So the way you kind of hop back and forth between different executors, hold down select, you can select that. That's the curtain open close. Select, hit that.
And that's going to show you any cue list on that executor.
Correct. And it works the same way for if I have multiple cue lists running at the same time, so a hazer, a service, key light, curtain open close, if I have multiple on, and if I made some edits and hit store Q1 to just update a queue or update Q1, it's not going to know which sequence I'm talking about unless I either specifically say what sequence or if I have it selected.
Because there could be multiple Q1s.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you have whatever you have selected, if you don't specifically say sequence 1 Q1, it's just going to default to whatever you have selected.
Okay. So
Update
real
to that.
quick, if you wanted to now, let's say, make an update to that stored sermon message, like, hey, it's actually one a little darker.
Yep.
Can you just show me how you update it?
So with this live, I can come in, let's say house lights are a little too dim, so I want to put them at 100%. Okay. I can, it's on here, but I'll just come back to this page, for example. 2 ways to do it. I can hit store this, and because it's the only cue in there, it's going to ask me, do I want to override it, merge it, or create second cue. Those are kind of the main things that you're going to want to look at. once you create a second queue, I'll just show this as an example. Once I create a second queue, if I put this at full and red, if I come back over here, come on, and hit store here, it's just automatically going to start stacking queues underneath. So it's once I create a second queue, it's no longer going to ask me.
It's just gonna, once you select create new, it's just now in
It's
create
now
new
just
mode.
assuming, hey, you want to just create more queues. If I want to merge it onto that Q1, I can grab that, make it red, put it at full. A couple ways to do it. You can either do queue or store. It's different than EMA3. Q1, which I can see in that command line. Hit please. Now it's going to ask me, do I want to override or merge it?
Because it's detecting that
Because
there's
it's
a
now
conflict,
detected.
right?
Okay, we're storing in sequence 3 the sermon, which is named sermon.
Right.
And we're naming
That's
it
our
Q1.
sequence name, right?
Yep. So we can do it that way. Another way to do it is just store, and you can tap on the queue.
So you actually hit the name.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
actually hit the name or the queue number, either one. It's going to say the same information up here, just tell you where you're storing
Yeah.
it. The other thing, because I know it's sequence 3, I can type in store sequence 3 Q1, and it's going to
pop up the
So there's a
same
couple
screen.
different ways to do it. Personally, the way that I like to do it is if I have this up and I like having my selected sequence down here, I can bring those at full, make them whatever color, hit store down here, and I can just keep moving on. I'm not changing a bunch of pages. These are kind of the main two things as I'm building something out.
So that's because you had your queue list down here.
Yep.
That you were able to. Where was the store command?
Store.
Got it. So then you're just selecting the queue list. Okay.
Yep.
And then if you wanted to then make a change, you could pull up one of your queues, make some adjustments to it,
Yep.
and then do what you just did.
Yeah. So let's say this is nothing is assigned to that playback, right?
Yep.
Nothing on there. But I want to pull it in to make some adjustments. I can assign that to a fader, and now that's assigned there. And now I can, it's up in the room. I can see it. I can go through and make whatever adjustments. And if I want to, just so that I make sure I'm doing the right thing down here, select, make sure that sequence is selected, and now I can store however I want to.
Okay.
All right, so let's think how to say this. So we're going from song 4, whatever, and normally, Plano, what we do is we have, this is house lights. We have some different intensities across different groups.
Okay.
Because that's how we use these is just intensity.
Okay.
So what you're saying is, this is message. So if I'm going from song 4, which I have programmed here, and I want to bring up message, which means I'm losing a lot of extra lights, I'm focusing in. How do I do that?
Yeah. So.
Without stepping through?
Yep. So, a couple different ways to approach programming.
If I hit an executor, won't it automatically proceed to the first queue? Isn't that how that works?
By default, yes.
And then if I hit the executor again, it'll go to the second queue in that sequence, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that would be one way, right, to do the transition?
Yes, but what you're talking about is we have to then program the entire show before the service, and there's got to be no changes during the show. If you throw us a curveball,
Well, let me ask a question, because I think a sequence to an executor, how does the fader for that executor know, or the fader for that executor will automatically adjust only the intensity setting for that cue? This is kind of like basic Grand MA stuff. Sorry.
It'll adjust the overall. No, don't apologize. It'll adjust the overall intensity for every fixture in that queue.
Right.
Yep.
But
So-
that executor is just serving as an intensity meter.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's always the way it is with a fader? Like, if I wanted a fader to control color instead of intensity, that's not, I'd have to do that some different way? Okay. But
Yeah.
I don't have to specifically say that the fader is going to control intensity, that's automatic.
Correct.
Okay.
Once you assign a
For
queue
the
list
queue,
to
for
it.
the sequence.
Okay.
So
So
the
the
way-
but
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No,
So
go
the
ahead.
button below it would toggle through your queue list. If if I had it assigned, if I had a sequence
Yeah.
assigned to an executor.
Well, I mean, we can change. I'll show you how to change it. So going to playbacks, right? We'll use sermon for example. I can see we have go, which is linked to this button here. We have our fader here. We have on and we have off, and then the name of the actual sequence, right? If I tap this,
And those lines below the sequence name are the cues within it, right?
correct.
Yeah.
So if I tap that, this pops up down here. So you can see go, the master, on and off. So if I don't want to every time have to hit select, this is the way that I do it, right? So that I don't have to do select that every single time, right? I can come up here, and the way that I run it is select is my top button. I have this as off, and then this is go. So the way that I typically run it in a service is, let's say I've got this is my walk-in. These are 4 songs. This is sermon, and this is a song after the sermon, and then I'm going to go back to walk-in for that walk-out look. I'll keep all of these up at 100%, and I'll tell it under options to turn auto stop and auto start off. So by default, if there's a sequence on 6 and this is at 0, just by pushing this up, it's going to assume we need to activate this sequence, start Q1 and play it. And it's going to assume by doing that, I want to turn it off. I don't want it to do that, so I turn those on and off. That way I can keep this up, the entire
And it
service.
won't automatically trigger.
Correct. It's only going to trigger if I tell it to.
Right.
Now, let's say we're at walk-in, right? I'll select that. We're in land of pretend right now. So walk-in is the look that's up. None of these are active. Only our walk-in is active.
Okay.
And countdown hits 0, and it's time to start song 1, right? I will, I'll have a secondary cue inside of my walk-in that all it's doing is turning off
Basically
moving lights.
crossfading.
Yeah, so it's going to turn off moving lights just so they can get set, so that if I have the Q1 in my first song be to have moving lights go, you're not going to see them shift gobos and change zoom. You're not going to see all that distracting stuff. All this is stuff we'll go through next time in a little more detail, so you can actually visually see what I'm talking about. So I'd hit go to the second cue. It's just going to shut off my moving lights, and then I'm going to hit
Song
Next
one.
song
executor,
one.
go to the next
Now
sequence.
that brings up, let's say I go through all of my cues. I've hit my last cue. It's time to transition to the next song. I'm going to hit song 2 and then hit off. And so I'm starting the next sequence and shutting off the last sequence. Does that make sense? So I'm starting song 2 and turning off song 1. And then I follow the same thing. I bounce through all those.
But
and then
with the sequence you had assigned to 6, you had a final cue that did those final shutdowns so that when
Correct.
the lights move, you don't see this. Right?
But
You
whatever-
wouldn't want to do that between 7 and 8 also?
you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have
you
a
can-
final cue
yeah.
that says shut these off in preparation for going to the
Yeah.
next song.
I have what I call like a mark. So mark in and mark out. So all that's doing, or fixture set, you can name it whatever you want to. But I always have the very first cue of every sequence be a fixture set, and the very last one be a fixture reset. So
So everything kind of zeroes out.
everything, all the
Like
moving
to the
lights
same
kind of zero
positions.
out, gobos.
So really,
all that kind
all
of
of this
stuff.
is going to be how we want to interact with those 4 moving lights.
Correct. It really
You
is the
wanna
moving
start
lights
and stop.
because
Okay.
everything else is just dimmer in color.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those 4 moving lights are really the ones that were.
So as we use those would be
Yeah.
decisions though. We want it, if there's motion going on, even if it's some preset loop stuff, we want it to kind of end where it's going to begin on the
So
next song.
let's say that, let's leave the moving lights aside. Let's say that I had the pars on, or let's just say I want to change the color of the back screen.
Yep.
From song 6 to or second to third song or something like that.
Yeah.
Do I do that would I do that as the last cue of this song or the first cue of the next
First
song?
cue of the next song.
Okay.
Just because the colors that you're using for the next song might not, if you decide to change order of songs middle, right before the service starts, you don't want to have to go back into another song to change colors for the following song
Yeah,
if that
okay.
changes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the end of the previous cue, stop any movement.
Correct.
Here's limited.
Or indexing.
And then your next one, if I had fixtures, like if I'm gonna lose the walls, for the third song for whatever reason, I would build that into the beginning
First key.
of the
The
next
third
cue
song, yeah.
of whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we typically don't change order right before the service,
Try not
but
to.
we always change it between rehearsal night and Sunday.
Sure.
He's like, all